So can you please tell me how did you get started with Airbnb or short-term rentals?
So I started on Airbnb because on social media, Facebook, there was this mentorship program that I it came about, and so I signed up for that mentorship, and it was for short-term rentals. And so it's through a coaching, and I told my friend, who is also my business partner, that we should check it out. And so since when we took that coaching program, we had the tools to build up. And this was in November of last year, towards Thanksgiving week, that we started the coaching program. And so that helped us a lot, because in that coaching program, we were able to and be educated, and also to network with other people who are wanting to do Airbnb or short-term rentals. And the coach, actually, he's around my age. He's like early 30s. Now you guys know my age. But the coach, he started in 2018, and he retired in 4 years. So he retired his wife from being a nurse and just doing short-term rentals. So we wanted to go with someone that already had the results already that we wanted. And so that's why we took this coaching program.
And would you recommend for first-time Airbnb hosts or people who are planning on doing short-term rentals or Airbnb to also attend to these coaching programs to educate themselves at first?
I highly do, and I know it might be like like intimidation because of the price, and but you need to have someone that you're looking for the results for already, because it's gonna save you time, headaches, and mistakes, costly mistakes. Because here they don't just educate us, they don't not just give us resources, but they also give us advice when it comes to legal terminology as well. So that way you don't get basically sued. You have a way to back everything up, because everything that we run in Airbnb and short-term rentals, we want to make sure that it's legal as well, because I know there's people out there that don't follow the rules in their city, and they get shut down, and that would be a costly mistake for not seeing the city ordinances, and then someone reports you, then you have to shut your Airbnb business just because of that reason.
Also, it's not only like mentorship, but they also guide you and help you in case you need it as well, right?
Yeah, correct. So they have people there that connect us with, that already helps with our coach, with the legal matters. So if they don't, if they, since they went through it already, since they have already up to this moment 16 Airbnb properties already, so they know that everything has to go in order, everything to be legal.
That's right. And can you tell me a little bit about, the not the hosting experience, but the purchasing experience so far, like in your state? I'm not sure, but I think in the state of California, I think it is short-term rentals is not allowed, or is it in your area?
It's surprising that in California, since, Airbnb, the founders of Airbnb are from the Bay Area, and so you would think, like, well, if we wouldn't have, like, easy to have Airbnb, but there's some parts, there's hotspots, and there's some parts that is not, for the same reason that there's strict regulations for short-term rentals. But we're able to network, and to see the spot. Of course, the spot that I have, the Airbnb, which is our first Airbnb property, which is in downtown Sacramento, we chose that based on the platforms that they give us, like different softwares, like, I don't know if you guys heard of Meshadvisor, AirDNA, and also using Zello, a little bit of everything to do comps. And that's what we choose, downtown Sacramento. One of the things that people are scared of, and I think it's healthy, and we have learned this and we have seen this through other people, it's okay to have your property where there's other competitors. All you have to do is to be more competitive than they are, and to put a spot, basically getting the location. Like, for example, like our listing is a luxury condo in downtown Sacramento. So there's another luxury condo there nearby, So we're gonna offer something that they don't offer, you know, maybe a better price, maybe better amenities as well. So we try to make sure that we're competitive as well.
Yes, because you're in a competitive area, of course, you have to be competitive. And so to analyze your investment, you used all of those tools. And also, did you like choose that area for any other particular reason?
We chose that area also because not just for the comps that we saw, that I know that even though we haven't even launched, but we know that the comps were looking really good with profits and also because it's closer to where I live. You know, I still have my regular job, my 9 to 5 p.m. job, and also my business partner has her job, and she lives in the Bay Area in Oakland. So we wanted to start it with the first Airbnb to be close to us. So I live like an hour away, 40 minutes away from Sacramento, and also my business partner too. So that way, you know, we chose that one first because we didn't want to choose somewhere way further in case we needed to do something. So this is just kind of like the learning experience. I know most people maybe that you interview maybe have a lot of experience in their pockets and well-seasoned hosts, but we're starting. I want you guys to hear me from being from already here developing this business. You know, first you do all this research, get educated before launching, you know, so that way you have a successful launch. And talking about a successful launch, you know, we barely started the last week before the Memorial weekend in
Mhm.
May. And when we launched it, we had so many inquiries to book that weekend that we were like, wow, like I can't believe this. They already have so many inquiries. And so now ever since we launched it, we have not been able to stop the bookings because we're solid for 2 months already of reservations for the summer. And so it's all basically if you trust the mentorship, if you follow the person who already has the results you're looking for, then everything else when you launch is going to be successful, will fall into its place.
And what do you think made your launching successful?
And made it launching because it's a lot of factors, but the number one thing is able to follow the person who already went through it, you know, to save you time, save you also the crunch. Because one of the things that helps us is making sure the Airbnb business or short-term rentals does not become your second job. Your time, like my time and your time, has a price, is worth a lot. So one of the things that we noticed that there's this kind of business model, there's other business opportunities. Like we have a co-host that we met in Facebook that does all our communications as well. And she also helped us to get our yes for our first property because we don't own the condo. We do a sublease, which we pay the owner their mortgage every month. And so able to use this business model. So I'm not the owner of the condo. We're just subleasers of the condo to do short-term rentals. But all that for us to come to that point, we needed to have someone to help us to find us that property, and that's when we found our co-host, and she did everything virtually. Found the property, called the property manager, and able to do a contract, able to do our business. So we found someone that already knew what we wanted.
I see now. And now that you mentioned about subleasing, can you tell me a little bit of, you told me that this co-host that you work with contacted the landlord and convinced him. And do you have any idea of what does she what pitch did she use to convince this landlord?
We through because she's also part of the mentorship program that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So she already have the same mindset, the same terminology of what we need to do because in this mentorship, we are able to learn about all the common objections that landlords will have. Like for example, if you say Airbnb, they're gonna get scared when you say Airbnb. They're gonna think party people. They're gonna be think, oh no, they're gonna destroy my property. Oh no, they're not gonna probably pay my mortgage or what's going to happen for that's what we get to learn about many different things to able to calm the fears and able to bring an answer to the objections of landlords. So we have scripts also that our coach provides us to be able to know what to say for those kind of objections. So, and that's the thing that she did for us, you know, able to find out what were the concerns and fears and the objections of the landlord, and making sure that they know that we are able to settle for any uprising issues. I know one of the common issues would be like being noisy. So one of the things that we have learned in this mentorship is able to have a noise detector device called Minute that tracks not just the noise detection, but also the temperature in your property, and also lets you know if it's humid. And that actually has helped us in launching to making sure that there's not so much of a crowd. It also detects if it's overcrowding in your property, because you know it's illegal to have cameras inside the property,
Mhm.
since Airbnb they're strict on that. So you're able to put a noise detecting device that helps us to document all that in case something gets out of control. And the number one, another thing too, to have a ring camera or any security camera outside of the property, so that way you could document how many people are coming to the property as well, making sure what they say is exactly, you know, what you're seeing in the camera as well.
Yeah, so basically, mm, these problems have a very like obvious solution, but I understand kind of why landlords don't want to agree to subleasing for Airbnb sometimes.
Mhm.
So it's really good that you train yourself, you train with others to teach these landlords, and for them agree to do the subleasing, because at the end, if so, it's something that also benefits them, right?
Yeah, correct. Like, and also the subleasing, that's the business strategy that I use, because you get a more profit. My business partner, who, no, my other person who is a co-host, she's not part of the subleasing strategy, she's part of the co-hosting strategy. So she doesn't have to put anything down to invest, because she's the one that is gonna find the city ordinances, also contact the property managers, and then able to get paid until she gets an approval or yes from the landlord. So that's what she does, and also able to pay her to be a co-host in Airbnb with such percentage as well. So she does all the communication. So something that I have learned through this experience is the co-host would be the person who has time to able to do all the stuff. Like I mentioned previously, me and my business partner didn't have time. We were feeling like this was like a second job for us, and we didn't want it to feel like this kind of business model to be a second job. We wanted to feel like we're not working in the job, but we're working on the business, you could say.
So by you saying that, I assume that since the very beginning, you were thinking about doing subleasing or rental arbitrage. Like that's the normal term, right?
Yeah. So this will be our first one, and we're thinking of able to get a second one, but this time being owners of the property. That's another business concept too, to able to do your Airbnb business by owning your own property as well, but working with that business model concept of short-term rentals.
And can you tell us a little bit about the benefits of starting with this business model with rental arbitrage?
Yeah, so like for example, if you're able to own your own property, there's so many ways that you can invest by having your own property, not just because it's your own property, but through the Airbnb business or short-term rentals. From that, you're able to pay your mortgage, and then on top of that, get profit, you know? Whereas right now that we're doing subleasing, we don't own the property. We're paying the landlord their mortgage. They're happy for that. You know, they're happy that we're able to also increase their appreciation value of their property, because we do remodeling, we do, you know, also in the property. So that way, you know, we are ready for business. And so that's gonna make the landlord happy. We're not benefiting, who's benefiting in the subleasing strategy? The landlord. So that's why they're happy. That is increasing the value of the property. So that way, if they want to sell it, they're gonna get a huge equity out of the property.
Yeah, that's right. And how does this business model benefits you as an Airbnb host?
So for me, for this subleasing strategy, we get the profits after paying the co-host, paying also taxes, and also not owning the property, we don't have to pay for other stuff that landlords have to pay, like, city taxes and everything else. So it helps us that way. So even though we have a contract for a year, it secures us that we're going to have business for 1 year, and able to renew it again. Hoping that's what we're hoping, that hopefully the landlord will kiss us after knowing how well we did, that after 1 year we're able to get it again for another year. But during that time, able to have build up our portfolio and able to convince other landlords to let us to rent it for that kind of business model, maybe in some other areas, because our second location will be either in the Bay Area or South Lake Tahoe as well.
Oh, so you're planning to continue with this subleasing model, right?
Yeah, we want to follow the footsteps of our coach, because our coach, he has many properties in Southern California. So we want to do what he does. Like, he also does the same thing. Like, he does a subleasing strategy, and he's also the owner of 2 homes, and he also does investments as well.
Okay, that's really amazing. And can you tell us, so I forgot my question, sorry. So I was going to ask you, how do you deal with the neighbors thing? Sometimes neighbors for you, like in a condo, and for other people in apartments, have issues with people doing Airbnb. Do you have that issue currently?
No, we don't have that issue currently, since we really started, and we select the people, making sure that we vet them, with their IDs, making sure that they are who they are, and try to review, like any previous reviews that they made on the guests too. Like recently, like right now, we have a guest that came from Armenia, that's staying in our Airbnb since yesterday. They're gonna stay all the way up to July. So they are they're Airbnb hosts in Armenia. So they have properties over there. So I'm like, oh, so they understand the business model too. And with our neighbors, I mean, we noticed that they're like, you should notify them that what you're doing, and that if there's any issues, that they could give you a call.
Yeah, that's right. And they all agree with it, with the business model you're currently working there in the condo?
Yeah, so we let the business property manager and also the other managers that they have in the condo, because they have an HOA, about HOA or have a strict rules. So kind of telling them that, yeah, we definitely want to make sure that the people who come in are not going to be problematic, and that we're going to check on their background before they come and stay in the property.
That makes a lot
And
of
that's one of the
sense.
ways to calm the fears of all the people who are in the leadership committee and that building. So that way they could rest assured that, yeah, we're not just letting in just lightly people. We're making sure that we check the backgrounds and anything.
And can you tell us a little bit, now that you talked about that, about the background checking process you make for your guests?
Yeah, so we try to focus our audience to be traveling professionals, so traveling nurses. So we put our platform not just in Airbnb, but we also put our property in Furnish Finders as well, and of course direct booking. So that way we get our main audience being traveling professionals and that's something that we tell the property managers and other leaders who are in the committee, that's our target audience, that the people who are going to live there are traveling professionals.
And how do you manage to get your target audience? Just by sorting them out when you get the bookings? Or do you also like target them in other different way to approach them more closely?
So we put that in the description that that we set out our property to be a home, like work from home, so that's what we provided in our property, um, a desk, so that way they have that ambience that they're working from home remotely. And also we let them know that um, and that that this is the whole purpose that we're doing this. So because in where we put our property, everything is in the capital of California, so we get a lot of people who work in the capital, or people that work near businesses as well, to able to attract them as well. So we try to reach out, like my co-host is the one that does all that communication, so she's reaching out through local Facebook groups as well, and also through other, and that's the way that she actually found the property there in Sacramento, through the local Facebook group.
Oh, okay. So that's really interesting. It's not my first time hearing about people doing these synergies through Facebook groups. So that's once again shows like the real that is really important for us to have these communities of Airbnb hosts, right?
Yes, yes, correct. Strongly agree. Strongly agree. And I noticed that Airbnb has I think it has a platform to able to build like a local host Facebook group, like a private group, just
Mm-hmm.
people who are around your area as well. So I'm kind of new, so probably you know more of this than I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen these Facebook groups that's been set up by Airbnb employees, I think, but it's like the
Hmm.
official Airbnb group. Yeah, I've seen that. So
Hmm.
I'd like to know about the investment you're currently making, so our listeners can have an idea of the approximate number of the investment they have to make to do subleasing. Is that okay?
Yeah, okay, okay. I'll give you the formula that we use here to able to do our investment. So what we did, and through the coaching, they tell us basically whatever you pay, what's the number on the mortgage, divided by 15 and times it by 2, and that will be the base rate that you will give for your nightly rate in Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
Because definitely if you wanted to have 15 bookings at least to make uh, to pay the mortgage, because this is a sublisting strategy. So after all, after the 15 bookings, it will be all profits for the investment. So the way that we have invested with my business partner is that we didn't use the bank at all. We used our own savings that we already had in our banks to able to buy the furniture, to able to buy the towels, the kitchen essentials as well. Even I mean, we do also use store credit as well, so to able to buy most of the stuff. And so we're planning basically from the profits able to pay all that off. So for right now, we understand that with this first property is able to pay out what we have already invested. And that's why we want to do more than one property, so that way we could see a cash flow, a passive income,
That's
like
right.
how my coach said. Because for him, he has considered having 4 Airbnbs where you will see the cash flow. So we have a goal already. Our cash flow number for me is 5,500 per month. You know, so that's a flaw. In order for me to get that, I need to get another property. Because with just the first one, it would just help to recover from what we already spent on stuff and items and furniture, everything, permits, insurance, all that involves in short-term rentals.
So basically, with this business model, you won't be able to see an immediate cash flow.
Not right away. Not right away. Correct. You need to have more than one property.
Mm-hmm. And even if this property goes long term, let's say 1 year, 2 years, you won't be able to see any cash flow with it.
Oh yes, after 2 years, yes, after 2 years. Right now, the moment we're just focused on able to recover what we already spent, so we're like trying to work that hard right away. And so we have already made, like I told you, since we launched, and we already have 2 months of confirmations. We have already made basically like 6 times the amount of what we had to pay the mortgage so far, because the person that we already had like about 5 separate gas already reserved our property since we launched the last week of May of this year.
Is it okay if you share those numbers with us, like how much you pay for the mortgage and how much have you
Yeah.
been making since the launching?
So the mortgage, we pay 300 and plus $50 for water bill that they included. And then, so with all the utilities, we spent between 2,500 and 2,800. And I say that because depending on the energy usage, that can vary. And so now that we have made all the bookings, because Airbnb tells you the bookings earnings for the whole year for all the bookings that we have so far
Mhm.
this year is about 13,000. So $13,000, and that's
13,000.
just that's all the bookings that we have for this year, because we also have bookings um, filling up for the month of October, and then there's some in September as well. So it seems
Mhm.
like October it's a high season um, reservation bookings here in Sacramento, because there's a lot of events going on in here in Sacramento. We have the property close in walking distance to what we called Golden One Center, the convention center, where you have celebrities and come and do concerts and sings and so many events. And that's another reason why we chose also downtown Sacramento.
Okay, so this listing is really bringing you like good money, I think, right? It's a good
Yeah,
amount. Where you
and yeah,
spend.
and
Mhm.
and also I like this to say that this also is helping us to provide employment opportunities, because we're not just paying our co-hosts a percentage, which is about 17% of each booking, but also because with Airbnb it helps us to able to pay for a cleaning person, from the cleaning fee.
Mhm.
So you could say we have like two employees that we have so far that we pay through the earnings. So we're
Oh.
hoping to build teams. That's another thing that we have in our vision, to able to build a cleaning team, a handyman team, and other teams to help us with our business, to able to leverage this to be much more bigger.
Oh, I see. That's a really good strategy. I never heard before about someone thinking early to build this team for them. But I think it's very smart what you're doing, because many hosts struggle when they get like two or three rentals and they don't have a cleaning person, they don't have a safe handyman, they struggle a
Mhm.
lot to find this
Yeah,
crew.
yes, and that's something that we have learned through the mentorship. Like our coach, he never seen one of the properties at all. He never has seen his one of the properties, because he already has a team who was in charge of it. He has a team for communication. He has a team that cleans the property. He has a team for all the legal stuff as well, and then he has a team for taxes purposes. So uh, it's a lot. Imagine all the bills for 16 properties to be in control. He even has a management team for all that too. Who's in charge of all those maintenance, you could say.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wow, that's really interesting. And so we're running out of time. So I would like you to tell me if there's any particular challenges that you have encountered as an Airbnb host at any particular time.
At the moment, one of the, right now I cannot think of any challenges. I think, one of the challenges so far has been, because it has been a setback. We could have started this, before the end of the day. We could have started this when we first did our contract in April. And the whole setback was because of the contractors. Like I tell you, oh, we didn't have a team for cleaning. We didn't have a team for handling it, because we did have someone, but they failed. They couldn't show up, or they didn't follow up through. They said they're gonna help you, but the last minute they cancel on you. So that's why we have learned to have a backup your contractors. Don't just pull all your eggs in one basket. Don't just depend solely on one cleaning person. Have multiple of cleaning people that will call, that you definitely can call, and they could be there in the last minute. Same thing with handyman. Already so far, since we started, I think I already have 5 handymans in my phone already, in case I need someone to do something to fix, in case the other handyman can make it.
Mm-hmm. The backup plan is really, really great and really going strong right now. It's literally my first time hearing of all of this, but I think it's a really great tip because yeah, it's important to have backup. And
Yeah.
lastly, you already gave us many tips, but are there any particular tips that you like to share for other Airbnb hosts?
Yeah, something that I would like to share because I noticed, because I met someone also in the same mentorship program, something that I didn't know that he valued and that he admired from my experience is able to work as a team. You know, I'm not doing this by myself. I have a team. I have my business partner who lives in the Bay Area and also have my co-host who does all the communications. Because there's people that do this by themselves and two is better than one. Trust me. The way that you're gonna be able to work with them is to see what they have that you don't have. I have all the techie skills that my business partner doesn't feel strongly, but she's the one that decorated that building that you see, that decor right there in the listing. She did all the decor. She loves it and she's really good at it as well. I'm not a decor person. I think I'll probably mismatch a lot of things there that you see, but she did an awesome job. So have a team. It's always better to take someone with you. So that way the team will make the dream work for you.
That's right. That's right. Teamwork, it's really important, and it's not like in the Airbnb host community, we don't hear much about teamwork.
Yes. And that's why people get exhausted so quickly because they feel that they're in it alone, and they are doing it alone because they don't put the trust and able to find someone that could complement them. Not to be a competition, but to be a complement to what they have, their skills, their abilities, to the abilities and skills that that person doesn't have. And that's what I found with my business partner. You know, she has a decor and I have the techie skills that we don't have any other skills. We'll find someone like a co-host who's able to do all the communications. I don't know. I'm not an handyman at all. I don't know how to fix stuff. Okay, I'll find someone. I'll find it through an app. I'll find someone through my community that knows how to do it. So
Yeah.
that's how it works.
That's great. And that's a really great tip, which is my first time hearing it. So I bet it's going to be really helpful. And that would be it for today. Thank you a lot for your time and for sharing this experience with us.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm glad able to be here and hopefully you guys able to take all these tips. And if you guys uh, want to book the location, hopefully to get to see it, then just contact us and we'll give you a discount.
Okay, that's great. So I wish you the best of luck with your business. I want to see you success. And
Thank you.
hopefully we have you again here when you own already multiple properties and you're really successful in the business.
Awesome. Thank you so much.